So I have yet another idea for a video. I noticed that on my channel, a lot of the time I talk about me with my experiences, but I thought I'll do a little more education on not just me, but more just schizophrenia as a whole. And one of the symptoms, as you've read by the title, is the different types of hallucinations that can come with not only schizophrenia, but other psychotic disorders or people with brain injury and things like that. A lot of the time people, when they know you hallucinate or they know I'm schizophrenic, I was told that most people think that you just have visual hallucinations or just auditory, or you only have visual or auditory hallucinations. And there are actually different types of hallucinations that are not just visual or auditory. I thought I would just go ahead and talk about those here. Um, but I'm still going to explain what they are, even the visual and auditory, just so you can get a grasp. And also, I will be adding my experiences with each type. First up on the list is auditory hallucinations. Auditory, audio, hearing, auditory hallucinations, and it's hearing something that is not there, that others cannot hear. Now, hallucination is perceiving something that is not actually happening in reality. That's my definition of it. So an auditory hallucination would be one can hear voices, thinking they hear people talking, and no one else can hear it, obviously, because it's not happening. And a lot of people say, "Oh, well, if you're schizophrenic, you just don't realize that your conscious is telling you is talking your inner dialogue," and it's not the same because you actually hear it as if a normal person is talking, and it's not always my voice. It can be different voices, different people talking, or not only voices. It could be sounds. You know, with me, explosions. I believe I talked about that in my episode video, the first one I posted years back. A telephone ring, screaming. That's a big one with me. Is I hear people screaming, and that can be very distracting, because it sounds real. There's no other way to explain it. It sounds real. I wouldn't say it's your inner dialogue because, I mean, yes, sometimes you can hear it in your head as if it echoes in your head, but other times you hear it like it's happening out, like someone's actually talking to you, like they're in the room with you. So I wouldn't say it's my own inner dialogue because, I mean, your inner dialogue doesn't really sound like yourself. I mean, I don't know how would you explain your own inner dialogue? Like, I know some people have, I forget what it's called, but where you don't have an inner dialogue or whatever. But even people that do, majority of people, how would you even just you don't really hear your voice. Really, I don't think you do. That is a auditory hallucination. Hearing something that does not exist and no one else can hear it because it doesn't exist. Only you can hear it. And that leads to the next one that is most commonly, which is visual hallucinations. That is perceiving something visually of something's existence that is not there. I'm going to stop saying it's not there because you guys get the point. Whenever I say it's hallucination, it's not actually happening. So you can see lights, shadows, colors, shapes, people, um, creatures, animals. Um, you can see lots of different things that only you can see, and they appear to be as real as everything else that you see. Like, it appears to be as real as this phone. It appears to be as real as this mic and I. That's why it can be off-putting. And with me personally, I've seen things. I've seen shadows. I've seen people that are not actually real, and even engaged in conversation with them, not realizing that they're a hallucination. And that can be difficult because it takes time to understand what is real and what's not. And that's the biggest way I can describe schizophrenia to someone who doesn't know what it is you never know what is real and what's not. You never know if what you are seeing, hearing, believing, whatever it is actually the truth or happening or not. You never know. You're not 100% certain. And but I will say this about visual hallucinations and auditory as well. If you're in a room, there's people there, and you see something that's very off-putting, you're like, "Whoa, that's not right. That doesn't seem realistic." And you look around and see that others are not acknowledging it when they obviously should be. Good chance it's not real. So, I'm saying the odds are it's not really there. And it took me a while to get to that point. Most of the time, I can be okay with, like, I can control them. Just that's not real. Obviously, no one else is, no one else is acknowledging the presence of whatever it is that I'm perceiving. But sometimes there's slip-ups. Tactile hallucinations. One you don't hear about very often, but it is very much an issue. Tactile hallucinations is the feeling of something. So so far I'm going through the senses. I've done hearing, seeing, and now I'm doing touch. Is feeling something that's not there, whether it's bugs crawling on your skin or crawling under your skin, or moving inside of you, or you feeling someone's touching you, or anything like that, but it's not actually happening. You're just feeling something, and you can't control it no matter what. You can't, and that is tactile hallucinations. It's feeling something that's not actually happening, and those can be very off-putting. I feel like bugs were on me before when they were not, and I still have this issue now. It turns mostly more of it's a nervous thing I do, but it started off as is the nail on my thumb. I actually removed because, or at least dug at it because I thought bugs were coming out of it, and that's why my nail is so messed up. And like it's gone, as you can see. Like it's trying to grow back, but it's been this way for a long time, and I keep picking at it though, and so it's not getting any better because I'm nervous. So that's become a habit, so I can't heal properly. But that's just an example. It's very off-putting. When you feel like there's things touching you that's not actually doing that. It's very distracting, and I find it more hard to cope with that than seeing or hearing things that aren't there, because the sensation is actually it's on you. Um, so we've gone through seeing, hearing, touching, and now we're going to do smelling. Smelling is called olfactory hallucinations, which is smelling something that's not there. It's usually going to be a foul odor of urine, feces, rotting flesh, but not always. It can be flowers. It could be any smell really. And oddly enough, with my experiences with smelling things that aren't there, I have that more when I'm not actually in an episode, because I don't like to say every time I hallucinate I'm in an episode. I see myself more of when I'm delusional I'm in an episode, because I see an episode as I'm not functional. And usually when I hallucinate, I can still function. I just might be slightly impaired, perceptively. Usually when I'm not in an episode is when I smell things. It's only for a second. I'm like, oh, well, that's not happening. Because why would I smell this? No, and once again, no one else is acknowledging this foul odor that I smell. So that's olfactory hallucinations. So we've done hearing, seeing, smelling, feeling. What's the next one? You guessed it, tasting. Tasting things that are not there. It is called a gustatory hallucination, and I actually didn't know this was a thing because I never experienced it, and I till recently I didn't know it was a real thing. But it's called a gustatory, I believe that's how you say it, hallucination, and it's when you taste something that's not there. I don't ever recall this ever happening to me, but apparently it's a real thing, and that might be the worst thing I can imagine, but also I never dealt with this. What if your girlfriend or significant other just made a delicious, hard work, delicious dinner, and you taste it and it's well made, and you just spit it out and go, just tastes like, and then you feel bad because you hurt her feelings, and your dinner's ruined because it tastes like dookie. Those are the main hallucinations. There are other subcategories, but the main ones have to do with senses, perceiving, your perception of altered perception of all the senses. There is something else called a general somatic hallucination, which has something to do with kind of like tactile, but it's always really painful and never pleasant. So I know what you're thinking. Well, aren't all hallucinations unpleasant? That's not true, actually. Sometimes you can hallucinate things that are positive. Not all the time do I hear voices telling me, you need to commit sewer slide, and you're the worst thing ever to exist, like you're an awful person, or I see things that are scary, or feel, anything like that, But I mean, you can hear like I've heard things, that where maybe a joke will be told, that and I'm like, oh, that's funny, or just a weird random sound that you're like, why did I hear that? That's not. Why did I hallucinate that? General somatic hallucination is basically, of what I gather from it, is like a tactile hallucination, but it's painful and always unpleasant. I would put that in the same category as tactical hallucination for the sake of this video. But those are the main hallucination types, and Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, it didn't click that there's hallucinations for every sense. I mean, I got the whole tactile, smelling, seeing, and hearing, but I don't know how I didn't process that music could also taste too. But I never dealt with it. Just like people wouldn't understand what it's like to have auditory hallucination, I wouldn't understand a gustatory hallucination because I've never hallucinated a taste. That's the main types of hallucinations on this video. Just want to do a quick little video on just some education on hallucinations. And then I suppose my next video, I can do one on delusions and more in depth on delusions. And actually talk about delusions. So be sure to like and subscribe. If you subscribe, hit that bell icon so you know when I post more content. Like it to see more videos, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I will try to live stream more, and you guys can talk to me on live stream. I have live chat going on whenever I live stream. You can ask me questions, say something, you know. You can talk about how much you like my channel. You can talk about how much you want to punch me in the face. Come on down, come talk, come join the fun. So I'll talk to you guys later, and you guys have a good day. Bye bye.